All right, what's going on, family? This is David back again here with another video. Today I'm joined by my brother Musa here, and good brother here I've known for a couple years. You want to introduce yourself real quick? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Peace, family. What's going on? I'm Musa. I don't really have or give myself like a big, background. Some people might know me for being a part of a group called Carbon Nation, led by Lee Hill Bishop, or some people know him as Chief. So that's been like a big part of my introduction in terms of the online community. But I just come as a being of love. I don't have too much to say about myself. Um, and obviously I think we'll unpack more as we talk, but that's really all I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. Let me even just give a refresher here too. And it's been a while since we tapped in, but we have a very rich history, and it's been such an honor to be able to connect with you. So, like, sharing a little bit about how I first even came across your page was, man, this is so funny. Like 7 years ago, I was like on a deep dive and a quest searching for the truth, and like any other truth seeker, I was down the rabbit hole, and then one day came across a channel named Nature Boy, and I always had an intuition I wanted to move to the tropics and just live closer to nature because I knew that's where a lot of the answers naturally would start to come from. And then on there, I found a brother here, Musa, at the time that I had heard his music. And I remember I was like literally a teenager at this time. But it was like some of the first kind of conscious rap that I'd ever heard. And immediately something just registered. I was like, yo, this is the wave. Like, what have I been listening to all this bullshit before? Like, and then I found all these other artists like Locksmith and Immortal Technique and all those legends from back in the day put me on. But it wasn't until what was it like almost 3 years ago at this point, just by pure synchronicity, like we both ended up at this Free Soul concert, and you entered like pretty much probably like 2 minutes right after me, and I just got there, and Free Soul, for those of you guys who don't know, he's like one of the top conscious artists in the game. So like down that road, I probably wouldn't even have met Free Soul if it wasn't for hearing your music too. And all of a sudden it was just like something clicked. And like I didn't know at the time that you were the person that I'd known already through YouTube, like because I just didn't make the connection at first. But then it was like just naturally over time, it started to grow and expand. We ended up doing some studio sessions together, going out to some like crypto masterminds and linking up with all these different kind of, individuals that are very much well versed in their fields and their industries. And then eventually like it just hit me, this is the guy I've been seeing on YouTube for all these years. And I was like, what, how did I not make that connection at first? And it was just hilarious to me. And then just to think about now where we are, like uh you know just seeing how much you've grown, and like both of us, in just such a short amount of time. It's incredible. And then literally just like 20 minutes ago, so we had just the intuition to start this out of nowhere. He hits me up, shows me this interview that he just did, and I was already like about to reach out to him. So there was some quantum telepathy going on, because I had literally just spoken to a brother last night that we had a lot of mutual friends in common, people we know through the YouTube community and Black Magic and those kind of channels. And he was also mentioning about Sirius to me, and how that was how the Dogons got a lot of their information, and that right now we're experiencing some planetary shifts where that's coming back to the light, you
Yeah.
know? And so all of a sudden found out that you just did this interview. So I'm like, okay, we got to get into this now. No time like the present. And just like hear a little more of a deeper dive into like what you've been experiencing as of lately, and like what has been alive within you. So if you don't mind sharing, bro, just like tap us in real quick and just share what's on your heart.
Yeah, it's really love that's on my heart.
Hmm.
Um,
Love
recently, I
wins.
mean, I'm sorry, what was that?
Love wins. I just noticed that you had that on the cap there.
Oh,
That's
love,
fire.
love wins.
Love
Absolutely.
it.
Um, man, first let me say, um, I'm glad you mentioned everything you mentioned. It kind of put things into perspective for me as well. The journey, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's all beautiful,
Hmm.
because the times that we met, I wouldn't have been able to predict that it would have came to this. And so
Hmm.
that even applies to, it makes me more excited about the future. I remember being a little unsure and worried about the future, you know what I mean? Because, just the state that I was at in certain times, you
Hmm.
know what I mean? And it's amazing to see like that I had an impact, because that was always my goal. That's all I ever wanted. You know what I mean? My journey for me shifted. It wasn't even like too big about me knowing spirituality. It was like I just knew that I had a heart. And when I heard rap music, it was like, man, what if I could sound like these people that sound cool, but just put something in there that, like, why does I always felt like rap music was like corny in a sense, like in a sense where it didn't appeal to those frequencies of the mass. And that's always how I felt like I wanted to reach. I feel like my reach was supposed to be for a mass
Hmm.
in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? So that was the desire that really fueled me through a lot of things. And I never thought that it would get to the point that it's at now. So I'm thankful for you being a recorder of those different moments and memories and refreshing me with those because it does bring a appreciation to everything and even this moment that we're sharing right now.
Yes, yeah.
Mm.
All everything's in the Akashic records, and there's a very good chance I think that there's also some past life influences that had to do with this. But we're not going to get into all that right now. Just like staying on the present, you know. So yes, to be able to reflect on the journey is incredible too. But right now as well, like when you mentioned, so there's, some new energies that are also coming onto the planet right now. That's the other thing that, like, the timing of this video. We are in a new moon currently. We're also experiencing an eclipse. And then there's a planetary alignment of four planets orbiting around the Earth right now, that is causing like extreme Schumann resonance spikes. And so a lot of people are getting activations. And then you mentioned one to me that you're experiencing right now. Do you want to get a little bit into that and what that's been like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get into it and then maybe we can do like a questioning in that sense. But basically I channel a being from Sirius B named Gosh. And I've also downloaded a good portion of my consciousness, enough that I needed for now, from Series B, for me to understand that I'm not and we are not from Earth,
Mm,
but me specifically in my experience from this perspective, understanding that, I'm not from Earth, um, and that a part of my oversoul is being streamed from Sirius B. There's a strong link there. So, really, it started for me at the end of my experience in what people know as carbonation.
mm,
Chief or Leo Bishop is a channeler from channeling his own higher self to different beings. And I think some doors were being opened for that. There were things that we were doing I wasn't aware of that were opening my pineal gland. And there was a consciousness I was implanting within myself, by basically surrendering my ego
mm,
and doing what is being said. It just so happened that he was aligned with divine truth and so would give me facts that I could recite even if I didn't fully understand it, but would give me words to channel my higher self. So through doing that over time, naturally my pineal started to open and I noticed that my body would start to move itself. So after I left that physical location, I experimented with ayahuasca and shrooms, which further opened my pineal gland. And I had to learn how to become, otherwise I would have went crazy because it started to influence me in my day-to-day reality when I was sober. So in
mm,
that process of just doing that, I was able to start to connect to more of a love frequency truly, heal from certain generational curses, and open myself up to contact with what we call extraterrestrial or interdimensional contact, which had already began to happen.
Mm,
These were already contacting me through my eyes. They were coming to me physically, but I couldn't see them, and they were touching me. So
wow.
it was already being made. And
Mm,
obviously I was channeling one. And I like to give reference to the movie Venom. If anybody knows about the movie Venom,
yes, I love that
Venom,
movie.
they call it a symbiote, but it was an alien, extraterrestrial, that came to him and they said it was harmful. They said it was like trying to destroy humans. And in a sense, all that means is that you have benevolent and you have malevolent. They
So,
call them benevolent beings and malevolent beings.
mm,
It doesn't, it's just, it's like polarity. It's like good or bad. Benevolent beings choose to a lot of times not interact or interfere with certain affairs. They're just love. They're more of the love frequency. It doesn't matter what you do to them, what happens. Malevolent, they come from the same source, but um they more have a role in influencing and being a strong, people call it manipulation, but it's just influence. And the dark works for the light because we need limitation to understand that we're to rediscover ourselves as unlimited beings.
mm,
So there really is no good or bad in a sense. Like that can be transcended too. So I had one experience where I was interacting with what I thought to be my twin flame, which this could still be like a truth in a way. And I was breaking up a consciousness. We call it breaking up a relationship, but it was a consciousness I put myself in that limited my own expression of self. And as I started to do that, I started to channel a being from another dimension. And I didn't know that immediately because the day or 2 days before I took shrooms and I started to descend my own consciousness from Sirius B. I felt family from Sirius B. I felt the love. I felt that I left home and I could just think of it was home. And I really didn't even feel like myself. So a few days after that, that's when I channeled this being completely sober. And ever since then, the being has been with me, excuse me, and I've integrated more and more with this being. There's a reptilian being from Sirius B named Gosh.
mm.
More than likely like my intergalactic self or some type of family or just a DNA connection. But yeah, that's what it is.
Wow. Okay. I'm just also doing a little bit of a search on this, and it's interesting because I've never, even come across or heard anything about this kind of a name um, of Gosh. And I mean, I've met quite a few people that have been able to channel different higher dimensional beings. Like I would say my favorite, Bashar or Cryon, they were the ones I would literally listen to like throughout the night. Sometimes they would have all these channeled messages, and it's um it's a great gift beyond measure to even be open to something like that. And I would love to hear as well like how you felt you were able to get to the point of even being open and receptive for um, this being to be able to come and channel itself through you. And like, what was that initially like, and what led up to it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's interesting. I started listening to the Bashar or Daryl
Yeah,
channel
okay,
Bashar
gotcha.
right before it, and I didn't believe in extraterrestrials or aliens, even when I was in carbonation. We didn't talk about it. So I didn't, even though Eligio or Chief might have known about it, it wasn't something we often talked about. We more so focused on where we were at and ascending the issues we were dealing with, which is understandable. So I think what allowed it to happen was just me surrendering. It's about choosing love. It's about choosing an unconditional state or unperturbed state. If I told people about certain things I went through to get through where I was at, people would say, "Nah, I'm good off that." It
Hmm.
requires you to be exhausted and actually tired of living in a limited awareness or consciousness for you to even be ready truly.
Hmm.
Until you truly look at your traumas and heal, and be willing to look at your darkness, can you ever truly open up? Otherwise, you'll just be open into something else. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I went through some very dark things that I could have ended up in a crazy home, honestly speaking. Like I could have tapped out and just been like, look, man, like a lot of times I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to think I was crazy, and that it was no way for nobody to relate, but it seems like everything's coming around more full circle. And
Wow.
love is the answer. Unconditional influence, which is just pure light. It's not seen
Mm-hmm.
good or bad. Everything is truly working for your benefit. But if you don't alchemize it that way, then you'll house a consciousness that allows you to experience a reality where polarity exists instead of
Mm-hmm.
singularity.
Mm. Singularity. Yeah, that's so powerful, man. It reminds me of all my most powerful journeys within any kind of plant medicine, but even also in my meditations. And when you become so sensitive in that way and just like opened up energetically, it's like you have pretty much only those two choices, either love or fear in those moments. And it's incredible because like no matter what you choose, you're still going to get the lesson that you need. And
Yeah.
the source, what universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it still loves you unconditionally and is going to still give you everything you need on your journey so that you will be able to receive that lesson. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it's much easier to just surrender to that unconditional love, and then when it pours out, oh, like I'm literally getting chills throughout my body right now, like even
Yeah.
just reflecting back and to think about how we go through this dichotomy of going in and out, and why do we even come back? And I actually had a conversation with the soul brother about this earlier today. That's interesting you're doing that sign as well, because that's like the Illuminati symbol.
That's
What was
God channeling
it?
through.
Ah, okay, I see. Got
That's not me moving my body myself.
okay.
And I've learned that this represents the all-seeing eye, which is just a perspective.
Hmm. The all-seeing eye, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, whatever the Illuminati, they want you to think that it's some secret society that's like all about trying to control the world. It's just about knowledge of self, and that has been hidden from humanity. So, we're coming back to that right now. Um, but man, like, yeah, I had a very profound conversation about this because even people that are diagnosed with like schizophrenia or people that have been, bipolar, all these different mental disorders, a lot of times what it is, and found out there's a psychologist, even Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell, these other psychologists throughout the ages, they found that the same characteristics and markers that people that are diagnosed with those mental illnesses, they're experiencing the same kind of consciousness or that unity of like detachment from ego and merging with the whole creation.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
instead of being able to swim with that, they're drowning in it. And that's the only difference, is that they don't know exactly how to navigate through those waters. Um,
Right.
and the waters are, it's really the best thing you can compare it to, because we're like living
Water is
in, go
water
ahead.
is symbolic to consciousness.
Yes,
So,
exactly. And
but the thing about it is we dove deep into consciousness. So when we talk about spiritual concepts, people think we're deep, but we actually are deep into ignorance. It's
mm,
flipped. We live in the upside down.
mhm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way it actually is we live and exist on the surface where everything is clear, truly. That's our higher self that is projecting down into this realm. But because of the concepts we have, it's a limited amount of light that can actually shine through the prism of our consciousness or our mental construct. So the more layers we take off, the more we naturally go into what we are. So it's really just fear, which is an
Mhm.
illusion, but you don't know fear is an illusion until you take it off. You can say fear
Yeah.
is an illusion all day, but until you actually start to take off that consciousness and go into that darkness and go back into those uncharted territories, can you ever truly say from your vibrational state that fear is an illusion?
Hmm. Oh man. Yo, it's so funny because yeah, that's what the show on Netflix, the
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, yes, it's been like a couple of years since I watched it, but man, that show is like they literally do it to put it in your face, like predictive programming to show you exactly what is going on. And then they even demonstrated MK Ultra, how that's been perpetuated for like the past 70 plus years. And like especially after World War II, that's when things really started to ramp up. And uh, the architecture, the food, the culture of music, the sports and entertainment industry, everything, you started to notice a very dramatic shift to some much more kind of, I don't, for lack of a better words, want to say like dumbed down version, which is very interesting to even think about because like we advanced in so many ways technologically, yet in our consciousness, people became more lazy. They became more um, accepting of uh, like material based society rather than like something that is geared towards the soul. Because all the buildings and everything we did for entertainment and uh, food and all that was like much more expansive and it enlivened the soul. So yeah, that's the question I want to ask you is like, what do you feel is this kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, agenda about? And what do you think is the reason why we experience this massive shift? Like
The
what
reason
are
we
we headed to?
experience the reason we experience it is to experience what we're not, which is the Antichrist.
Mm,
Which is we through desire, we're experiencing what we're not. Nothing is really bad. We're just experiencing what we're
mm,
not to return to what we are.
mm,
So it's really just it's a simulation that you can't escape unless you choose love, which is what you
mhm,
are, which is to accept good or bad, is to choose the highest possible perspective. And it doesn't matter how vegan you are, it doesn't matter how much grounding you do,
mhm,
unless you truly embody it and you house a consciousness and dissolve the fear that's within you and you pull things up at the root of
mhm,
your mental construct, will you ever truly ascend unless you experience a physical death? And then even then you might choose to re-experience something like
mm,
based on your own soul.
mhm,
But that's why we're here. We're here to experience what we're not. It's not about this person's agenda. This because Donald Trump is love in essence, bro.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Like I try to tell people that like it doesn't matter who they are or what they're doing, they're love in essence. They are divine love in essence, even if they're playing a role or a character in this earthly plane. And the only way to know it's a dream or know it's a simulation is to dissolve the character that they play. Look at how you feel and dissolve what you feel into love if it is outside of love, so that you match the frequency of divine being. And you
mhm,
don't require ayahuasca and there's nothing against those things because obviously I did some of those things that helped me and they can be helpful in tools, but that's all they can be. They aren't the solution.
mhm, mm. Wow. Yeah, it's so profound. Like so much that came up for me as you shared that because to get to the root, there is childhood traumas. There's things that come up, from all the way back to when you were born. You can say like, the first trauma a child experiences is birth because of their being like stripped away from their mother, um, uh, all these artificial fluorescent lights, and then
Right.
from the time we're like a couple days old, a lot of children too, they get circumcised, and it's like they purposely kind of induce this trauma into you from such a young age, and then indoctrinate you into the society. So it's like sometimes it can feel like we have all the odds stacked up against us, but we don't even know that um, the answer is really so simple,
Yeah.
you know. And like you mentioned there, so what I'm very curious about too, which is really something for me now, have been lucky enough to partner with some organizations where they show us how there's this TM movement that I've been a part of, that the consciousness is the base of reality. It's the unified field. And so the more you are able to get to the base,
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
everything expresses itself through that. So
Yeah.
my question is like, what is consciousness, to you, and how does that play a role in us getting to the root, of all of our traumas?
But to me, consciousness, or I mean, what we really are trying to focus on is really unlimited energy, which is unconditional energy. It's just light. It's
Hmm.
pure light. So
Yeah.
we're shining. Let's take it through astrology, and a lot of this information I got from Chief Alihio Bishop.
Hmm.
Like this is, but astrology. So astrology is the construct of how light shines through your physical prism and your reality. This is not about nobody else. There is no they.
Right.
You're experiencing life through your five senses.
Hmm.
So as you master your five senses and how you interpret information, you will forever be a slave to the external. Polarity is what we are not. So the goal is to dissolve into singularity, into seeing the I. How does everything work for you? How is everything a part of the all? How is everything a part of the big picture? How does everything make sense? How is everything truly good? How is everything truly I? So unless one can actually align with that perspective, will one actually ascend through that natural process?
Mm.
So the fears being brought up from an MK Ultra or a poll is nothing more than an opportunity. And as a God, that's all you are is opportunity. You're unlimited. So there's no victim and you can't truly be a victim to
Hmm.
any because you are consciousness, you are energy. You
Hmm.
existed before a name. You are a same part of that same fabric. So it's just an opportunity for you to come into that awakening. And it's okay if you don't in this lifetime or reality. It doesn't reflect on the value of you.
Hmm.
I am no more special than anybody else. This is no one that is more special or less special than me. We truly are all in one, but we operate on different frequencies within this illusion or dream or whatever we call it, based on free will, which is choice. Because if we all were told the right thing to do, then it wouldn't be real.
Mm. Mm.
Period.
Wow. Yeah, I'm literally soaking that in right now because the fear is an opportunity thing that is so important to realize. I've also learned because as long as you're a victim to your circumstances, you do not give yourself the power to use that situation you went through to learn from and to grow from. You know, if and the only way you can be a victim is if you perceive yourself to be that way, and
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
that's so powerful.
Exactly.
And that free will that exists, I want to go into that too because that's something like the concept of free will versus determinism that many people ask is like how like if we existed before and beyond time, how do our choices in this life influence our evolution, and like how is it even possible that we could have a free will if like you look at astrology and you can see like somebody's future career, relationships, like when they're going to have children, when they're going to get married, when they're going to die in some cases, how they're going to die. Um, all these kind of advanced things that astrology has actually been able to verifiably predict. Like, what is it that our soul versus like our physical body is able to have free will over? And like, how does that whole process work? If you're able to go into that.
You're saying in terms of like free will, right?
Yes. Like, how does our free will work, like within the context of our soul and our physical body, and how does it influence our spiritual evolution, the choices we make in this life?
Right. So, from my understanding, and also some reflected light from Chief, it's about desire.
Mm.
We're truly nothing in essence. The only thing that's going to make us want to experience anything is desire.
Mm.
So, we have desires to experience the possibilities of what we are, but that's only to return back from a different perspective. It's to experience who we are from as many different possible perspectives as
Mm.
possible. There's nothing wrong actually going on. Like, everything is actually perfect.
Mm.
Everything is actually perfect. Like politics, the person that's running for like I don't have a care or a meaning that I attach to anything going on in this physical reality because that's what anchors us to this
Mm.
physical reality. The point of us experiencing it is to ascend it. which is to give it different meanings because everything that we walked out into as conscious beings speaks of where we came from. So we're trying to attain power through external means, but that will never fill the void. It would never fill what we walked out into. So it's good as an experience to go through whatever lessons, but it always returns to zero, which is love, which is uninfluenced energy. And you can call that a lap, you can call it completion. People say getting to nine. It's just about perspective, but that's what we're here to do. Continue to experience what we are, not from different perspectives, and sometimes what we are. It just depends on what we choose.
Mm. Whoa, man. The part about the getting to nine and the desire that just hit me. Like those are two different topics. So, we'll have to get to touch on both of them because we briefly spoke on that before this. What does it mean to get to nine or to unlock what they call like the nine ether being, which is most likely from what I've come across, that's what allows you to even be open uh, to be able to channel some of these higher dimensional beings. Um, but the desire part, honestly, that I think is even more important just to get to first, just to expand on that point. So, relating to that, like we have the desire of, our soul, and we have the desire of the primal nature within us. And really, I think if you look at it from the perspective of the soul, at least this is from what I've come across, is like it's not necessarily a desire, but it's that our soul is always seeking the truth and actually no desire for anything material, just like the truth of reality, of love, of God, of wisdom. Um, so in that context too, I want to ask like how does one differentiate between desires that stem from the ego versus those that arise from the soul? That's
So
a really
desires that stem from the ego are things that are of the external that are trying to fulfill oneself. Desire, truth is going to come when you're exhausted of trying to fulfill things from the external and you only trying to find it from self,
hmm
regardless of your environment, who you're around. When you get brought to the invisible, what you can't see, and knowing that you can be fulfilled far beyond what you could ever think, and it's not from chasing, oh, let me go and do this and let me go. None of that will ever fulfill you truly because you're all there's nothing that can fulfill you because you are the love. We came from that state. So we're already fulfilled in self,
hmm
our true self.
So it's really just that kind of process of remembering or aligning ourselves with nature, with the cosmic order of natural law, to go within to see how our desires reflect these like universal patterns to align with our higher self ultimately, so that we're not chasing like illusions, but actually engaging within our true self, you know, inside.
Exactly.
So that's a great uh, take on it, and it's something that within Buddhism it's reflected on a lot as well. How they identified that attachment to desire is what the root of all suffering is.
Yeah.
But this is honestly another really big question here: is like, is it actually quote unquote bad for you to have earthly desires of wanting to attain material success? Or is it actually something that fuels you in a way that can also lead you towards being able to align with your soul? Like that's another question I have here is like, in what ways do our desires possibly serve as opportunities for spiritual growth even when they appear to cause suffering?
Because suffering is one of the best things ever. Like we get
Mm,
it twisted when it comes to suffering. Suffering is working for us.
mm,
Your pain is a GPS back to self.
mm,
So it's like if you just take the time to sit in the suffering and you sit in it until you actually change your state of being, you'll
Mhm.
see how beneficial your suffering actually is. It's not something that somebody can tell you, something that you have to be able to embody to understand the reason for suffering.
Mhm.
One of the big lessons I got from suffering outside of my experience in carbonation, a lot of that was brought up out of me to see, was the experience I had with ayahuasca, which is a reflection of the Great Mother.
Mhm.
And there was a portion where my hand was on fire
Mm.
and I got to feel the sensation of it. But in the process, I didn't feel pain,
Mm.
but I understood the process, the reason for suffering. And she was telling me the reason for suffering. And I
Mm.
looked around me and I seen people suffering, and I had nothing but love and joy and, yeah, just bliss for suffering because it's only bringing us to ourselves. God or light or divinity or source is present in every realm that
Mm.
exists. When you get to the point where you're willing, the only reason suffering exists is because we hold on to things that don't truly reflect what we are. We
Mm.
hold on to the perspectives.
Mm.
It's when we let go. That's all the thing with surrender is. You're letting go back
Mhm.
into what you are. That's what creates the suffering. It's the holding on.
Mm.
You feel me? It's the holding on, bro. It's not even, it's nothing else. It's the holding on. So once we get to the point where we're naturally exhausted with the matrix is a culture, a cult.
Mhm.
The matrix is a cult. It's an environment that's designed to enlighten you. Enlightenment is only a word that exists because of the contrast of sleep that we went out into. There's no such thing as enlightenment. We are already awake beings. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, I'm just soaking that in because it's so funny how, most people would perceive it as like you have to go on this journey towards enlightenment. You have to go through like what the Buddha went through, like all this self-induced kind of suffering and pain, um, till then you can realize it. But what you're saying is so profound because it's like we already are that what we're seeking to get to, and it's the seeking that causes you to feel that you're even separate from it, and if you didn't look at it from that perspective of feeling like I'm separate, so I need to go out and look for that path to enlightenment, but rather just realize that I already am it, like it's already me, and that there's no thing to go seeking to. That's when we actually start to get even closer, to actually realizing it, which is such
Exactly.
a powerful shift, from what
Exactly.
at me and I think almost everybody, especially growing up in some kind of religious background, you're always taught like you have to pray to this outside deity and that you're born lesser, like with sin in you, that you have to repent towards, and that we have this inherent sinful nature. Um, and it's like we have to go constantly seeking for something outside of ourselves, to fill that void so that we can be whole, that we can be complete.
Well, that is the religion.
Hmm.
Exactly. It would regard the Christian, the terms were birthed from that exact mindset. The
Yeah.
fact that it's going to be something external that's going to be the solution. So whether it was the term Christianity that was birthed, Islam that was birthed, Hinduism that was, it doesn't matter the term that was birthed
Hmm.
and how beings interpreted it. It was from the perspective, from the lower self perspective, that it's going to be something external that I'm seeking, that I need to grasp. There is nothing to grasp because you already are. It's
Hmm.
only the walls, the walls that we've built. They're mental. They're not real. But it doesn't seem that way because this is supposed to feel real. It's supposed to be real.
Mm, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if we didn't have that, I mean, just imagine like how different this world would be if people just were already aligned in that way. I mean, I can't even fathom it because it's all perfect, like you said, because if we didn't have a contrast of this duality to experience, then how rewarding would it actually be to be able to experience
Return.
that true enlightenment or that
Exactly.
alignment with the highest self? And it does come back to the biggest question is like, why are we even here, if we're already um, the source, within us? Like, why did our highest self source make us
Desire.
that?
Desire to
That
rediscover ourselves from another perspective. It's all about perspectives. There's
yeah.
infinite perspectives. Source is lonely. It doesn't want to just be the source. It wants to experience it from every possible perspective as possible.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, then there's literally nothing wrong at that point either with whatever path you choose. And that's
It's
actually
not wrong, bro. It's nothing actually wrong going on. Like, there's actually nothing wrong going on, bro.
mm,
That's the truth. Like, there's no frenzy. There's no. It's that's the truth.
mm. I mean, I don't think there's any more like comforting feeling than that, but I don't even want to say comforting. I just want to say like just truthful. Like it just resonates in your soul because when you realize that, then you have nothing to be afraid of, literally, because you're like,
Exactly.
no matter what happens, it's all perfect. It's all happening exactly as it's meant to. This is where we're really starting to get to this higher state, this higher vibrational state. Um, and so, even with that being said, then some of my questions here, they almost become irrelevant to even want to ask. But um,
Well,
go ahead if you wanted to share
I,
something.
I was gonna say that if you want, I can see if Gosh wants to channel through. You can ask him questions because I'm kind of slipping in
Oh
react.
yeah,
So maybe that might be something interesting for you if you want.
okay, yeah, that'll be very cool to see. Um,
Now, I always give people a disclaimer because what's the best way to say it? I'm still mastering this channeling thing, but if he channels all the way through, you ask all the questions you want. Obviously, you'll know that he's channeling all the way through. He'll let it be known. If it's kind of halfway and I'm still talking, then maybe I'll put a song on or something like that, and I do a channel dance that gives honor to the Great Mother, and I channel through like that. But I'll start with channeling through like to see if maybe some questions you want to ask Gosh directly.
yes.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
So should I have like the questions to ask first, or you're just gonna like first align yourself and open
You
up
can
and
you can start thinking about your questions now. You'll know in a moment.
okay.
Hold on. Woo! Oh. Hmm. Oh, wait. Yes. 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 In a moment. In a moment. Wait. I. Oh, I see you. I see you. David, you have questions.
Yes, sir. My first question here, who are you?
Gosh.
Gosh,
Yes.
gosh, where are you from?
Sirius B.
Sirius B.
Yes.
Gosh, where is Sirius B located?
Miles away, but really close in your mind. If you choose to connect, fuck. If you choose to connect, star system miles do not matter. Matter.
Hmm,
There is no matter.
gosh, how did you get here?
Where is here?
How did
I
you
just
get
said it's no
here?
matter. Get where?
The planet Earth.
Earth is a construct mentally. Once you dissolve what you are not, you connect to wherever you want to go. Travel. What do you mean? It's a free world. You can go wherever you want to go. If you choose, that's free will. Humans
Why
stay
did you
connected to Earth out of fear.
hmm, why did you choose to enter into Musa's body here?
Because he's strong by being weak. I needed a host,
Hmm,
but everybody's trying to be strong. And a consciousness that's weak.
hmm,
I fuck with him.
hmm. Gosh, what is your main message for humanity?
Love. Fuck do you mean? It doesn't matter how I speak or what I say. People want to say benevolent, malevolent. What does it matter? What do you choose? What do you choose? What do you choose? What do you choose? What do you choose?
I choose love,
That's beautiful.
but sometimes I let the fear come in and I don't know how when the higher part of me is already aware fully that love is all that exists.
Well, you're going through your experience. How beautiful. It's all exciting. Nothing's wrong. Fear, nothing's wrong. It's just a different perspective of finding love. It's beautiful. Fear is love. from a different perspective. Unify the fear, see it as love,
Mm.
and there will be no fear.
Do you have a family?
Hmm. Yes.
How do you feel about your family?
Family is frequency. Depends on where you vibrate at. Doesn't really matter where you're from, Sirius B, Sirius A. Who cares? What do you choose? Just like Christ said. They told him that his mother was awaiting him.
Mm.
He said, who are my mother, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my uncle, my auntie? Except those that do the will of the Father, which is the further beyond what you see from the physical illusion. So we're all family, but are you aware?
Mm. Can you describe the intergalactic family to me? Pleiadians, the star seeds, the Arcturians,
Orions.
the
Where?
Orion.
Where are the Octorians? They're all family. But what exactly are you trying to understand?
I want to understand what their role is,
Oh, um, who specifically?
what their role is here on Earth, and also what mission that they're here to accomplish and what we need to accomplish to align better with them.
It's not a matter of need, it's a matter of choice and want and responsibility, which is how you choose to respond to what you're presented with.
Mm.
You are a free being. It doesn't matter if there's extraterrestrials or aliens being presented on this realm. You don't have to choose to align with it. You're free. Everybody's free. That's the whole point. So, Octorians, if it's relevant for you to understand Octorians, then you will. But if it's not, then you won't. So, what's the point? What's the point of talking about it's not relevant for everybody? It's only relevant for some. Like some people, like not everybody. Like not everybody is like supposed to wake up. Like the whole earth isn't supposed to wake up.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like certain people will experience a mortal death, and that's beautiful, but it's what they will experience. So we talk all this light and love, which is great for those that will experience it in this lifetime, but not everybody will. Certain people will need to die, as you say, but that's beautiful because it takes them onto the light. So what's relevant will reveal itself once you choose love because you embody all knowledge, consciousness, and awareness. Like nobody can tell you about you. Nobody can give you a roadmap to you. You must take that journey. You must become. You must know who you are. It is not anybody else's job or responsibility at all. Nothing can save you but you. No extraterrestrials, no Arcturians, no Syrians, no Galactans, no Galaxians.
That's a great answer. I really wanted to know that, especially for the beings from Sirius B, who have apparently in many ancient cultures, especially within the Dogon people, gave very remarkable astronomical knowledge that many people to this day have no idea how the Dogons were able to know.
Yeah, because I mean, reptilians been holding on to knowledge for ancient times.
Mhm.
Stop acting like you don't know. People want to say reptilians are bad. We ain't humans. Who gives a fuck? We did what we had to do. We did what we had to do. It's not a blame game. We're all here learning. There is no one to blame. Yes, we ate humans. So what?
Mm,
They signed up for it. Next.
interesting. You're saying that you had ate humans?
Reptilians have a previous history of
Oh,
eating humans.
I see.
People like to demonize reptilians for eating humans.
Mhm. So there's multiple branches, multiple types of reptilians, you could say. There's ones that are benevolent, ones that are malevolent. What would you
Yes,
say the influence overall that the reptilians have right now on this planet?
benevolent.
Overall, they have a benevolent influence.
Benevolent. Remember, we live in the upside down, so most things you're taught are going to be flipped.
Yeah.
Come on, don't fall into the narrative too much. Think about the reptilian part of your brain. It's one of the first parts to develop, which is also representative of one of the first parts to extend from source, which is symbolic of the dragon, which is primal energy, which is the snake, which is where you come from, motherfucker. You
Mm,
have primal energy in you. You have a fucking reptilian part of your brain. Think about it. You are a reptilian. Don't fall into the tricks of the masses. We wanted to survive, to hold on to information. So we didn't fully go back into source. We kept to continue to regenerate and splice genes and continue to create, to exist, to understand what we are.
mm,
And you blame us, but you do the same thing on this planet.
mhm,
Blame us. But where do we come from? Source. So who are you blaming?
mm,
Do you not love your own selves?
mm. That's powerful. Uh, it helps me get a better perspective, and I very much appreciate that. I'm also curious the true nature of the Sirius star system and how it interacts with Earth and other civilizations in the galaxy then.
Well, for starters, it's like distributing information.
Mm,
Think about your distribution centers for music. You distribute your music, it goes to Spotify and Apple and whatever else, Amazon.
yeah.
So we distribute information that we've held for the collective mind. Information. Galactic librarians.
Mm, interesting. So you would call yourselves galactic librarians,
Hmm.
categorizing and storing information, putting it on the shelves for people to be able to pick up when they need, but they have to check out, they have to have some kind of a card to get access into the library. Is that correct?
Some type of what?
A card to get access into the library. They have to pass through some kind of initiation. Mm, yes. What what is the initiation like if someone wants to get access to this light?
Death.
Mm,
You died
mm,
when you came into this realm, and you must die again,
mhm,
which is a rebirth back until what you are. Are you willing to die for that information?
mm,
That is the question.
mm. That's the question. Okay. Does one need to physically die to get access to this information?
Some may, but not everybody will. Some will wake up and tap into it and become children again and venture the universe
Mm,
and this reality and share that information to help to make this plane a heaven again. But some people or souls or beings will have a physical death, much like a caterpillar before it comes into, well, a butterfly and flies and is free, but it will die. You see, the purpose is to cocoon, crucify the consciousness in a high place, high frequency, high state of being to dissolve everything that is of the lower self, separation, that is, and then ascend back into love, or all that is, or the all seeing eye where you don't see any good or bad, and you can now travel back into yourself.
mm,
You're only traveling in yourself right now. We're all galactic children traveling in our womb of our mother, who is the great galactic mother who provides for all of us and loves all of us, and our father who provides and shows us the way, which is the light, which is the way, which is the light, which is what Jesus was saying, which is the way, which is the light. The Father is the way, which is the light, which is the morals, the principles, and the guidelines and rules and code and conduct for what it means to express and actually look like what you actually are, which is your higher self, which acts a certain way. Your higher self acts a certain way.
very interesting. Through the light, you say, is the only way. And the quote I think you were referring to in John 16, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. What does it mean when we look at it from that lens, the meaning of the way, the truth, and the life?
This is the way, the truth, and the light, which is nothing more than an inward journey into self to open up what you are through natural realization from diving into a lower perspective and coming to a higher perspective.
Mm,
That's why there's nothing wrong. We're all explorers as aspects, different aspects of self. Just seeing from a different lens, but the eye always watching, observing, collecting, storing, refurbishing, re-guidelining, just to understand, just to have fun.
mm-hmm. Just to have fun. Oh man. So is that ultimately a big part of why we're here then? To ultimately to have fun.
Yes,
Mm, wow. That takes a lot of the light off the shoulders. That makes it
Well,
a lot
that's the whole point because you are light. Gravity really doesn't exist.
easier. Yeah.
So when you have a mind that creates gravity, well, you exist in gravity.
Mm.
Gotcha.
You know, a big reason I feel like I let myself stop having fun the way I used to, like for example, when I was a child, is because of this race, rat race, quote unquote, that we're brought up to feel that we need to be in the survival system. I was gonna ask, where do you see us heading in the near future with the advancement of AI and other technologies that can help to reduce the need for um, us to be working in regular labor-based jobs? How do you think that's going to influence, or how is it, according to what you can see, in the ways on how we're able to transition then to ultimately be able to have more fun, but to also evolve our consciousness?
Well, like stated before, fear.
Hmm.
It's you facing fear. The sooner you face the fear and absolve it and choose to see it in love, the sooner you'll be open to everything else there's to be open to. It's just fear. It's you experiencing what you are not and rediscovering yourself from that perspective. Everything is beneficial. Your entire journey, everything that you stepped out into as God as a perspective is beneficial to the all seeing everything. So the sooner you dissolve, the sooner the fun is waiting for you. Like, we're here to party. Where you at? Why do you think the intergalactic beings are coming here where you guys are at? We're partying. There's a party going on. Hey, where you at? We watching for you. We love 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 you. We love. We love. We love you so much. So come and play. Like come and play. Come and play and see from a different view. Cause you are sleeping. Time to wake up. Time to wake up and smell the flowers. And the roses and the beautiful dandelions on the other side. Oh my gosh. Ah, gosh. Oh my gosh, I said it, gosh.
Oh my goodness, I think the connection just became too strong as soon as you started saying that you love us, and then I got cut out. That's hilarious. I mean, that honestly leads me into the next question too, is like that this vibrational frequency of love is sometimes too strong for the the technology and all these things that are kind of meant to enslave us. And so
Are you
like,
ready for a song?
yes,
Are you ready for a song?
yes.
Yes. Musa, play the song. You play the song, bro. Hold on.
I was just thinking about the song "Everything Is Love" by Lundrell, and I was
All right, so I got a song called
just
It's All Love. I'm gonna play it just for you.
okay.
Just for you.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It's all love. I made this in Philly before we got together.
Oh, okay.
Just for you, bro. Ah! Ah! Love on me. I need that love. I need that love. I love me. I love me. I need my love. I need my love. It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all, it's all, it's all. What's love? Why you act so tough? Why you act so tough? It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all love. It's all love. If I kiss me out, what's love? Why you act so tough? Why you act so tough? It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all love. Love on me, love on me. I need that love. I need that love. I love me. I need my love. I need my love. It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all, it's all, it's all. You know, look when it come to you. I just think to myself, what the sun do? We gotta look from a sun view. We gotta look from a sun view. We gotta look at each other, realize we are one another. We should be loving each other. We should forgive one another. I can be strong when you struggle. I can be strong when you ain't. Stay focused on what doesn't pain. I'm living my purpose today. Look at yourself and reflect from your way. Look at yourself. Okay, you gotta watch what you say. You gotta watch how you think. Shout out my teeth for the way. All I can say. Love on me, love on me. I need that love. I need that love. I love me, I love me. I need my love. I need my love. It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all. It's all, it's all. It's love. Why you act so tough? Why you act so tough? It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all love. It's all love. It's me out. It's love. Why you act so tough? It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all love. Need you. I need your love. I need your love. I want you. I want you. I want you. You gotta look at each other, realize we all one another. Be your brother, we should forgive one another. Maybe so when you struggle, real time, gotta show love when the pain do. We all love, you ain't too. Time to shine bright and to fake you. We gotta stay balanced today, gotta stay balanced today. Gotta stay balanced today. Gotta stay balanced today. Gotta stay balanced today. Hey, hey, hey. I just get to the way. They shut out that on my face. They got the need for the way. Yeah, she's a moment to pray. All we can say is, be that love. I be that love. I need that love. I need that love. I see that love. I see that love. Breathe that love. I breathe that love. Love on me. I need that love. I need that love. I love me. I love me. I need my love. I need my love. It's all, it's all, it's all. It's all. It's all, it's all. It's love. If I catch me an op, it's love.
The song ended. Oh, come on, man. That was so fire. I was like only part of it. I was able like not able to catch the whole thing, but like I got 90% of it, and that was all I needed. Like the feeling definitely came through. So if you send that to me afterwards, I will bump that for sure. Like on repeat. That shit I could just tell came straight from the soul, man. That was so
I just
fun.
want to play one more if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can, and then try to get it like as close to the mic as possible. That way it'll optimize it.
Okay.
Damn.
Outside, keep the knowledge about what you do. Keep back on this fucking track. Because you're words happen to you, right? And understand your traumas. You can't even tap into it. You can hear it, but you can't tap into it. Yes. You take away. I separate because I live like a sacred way. I'm studying your mind because on a day day. When I break it, I'm gonna stay away. Really being out the matrix. Mentally, you cannot fake this. Look at mine. It's me. They just don't from what they see for what they mean to me. How you feel about yourself is what you see in me. Stepping on my demons, yeah, they want to shake up my cause you ain't on my frequency. You take away. I take away cause I look like a take away. Studying my actions on the day to day. When I feel good, you know I'm gonna stay away. I really made it out the matrix. Yeah. Hey, mentally you cannot fake this. Hey, yeah, guys, we got the sauce. Yeah, but that's me. Tell me what it's like down there, people say. You took a piece of me, you know it's me, and she gon' go into a healthy free like me. And I'm the realest thing that these niggas pretend. And into my home, sometimes it's hard to try and move on. And into my home, sometimes it's hard and move on. What you need me? Tell me what it's like down that frequency. You took a piece of me, you know that sees me. And she gon' grow into a healthy tree like me. Yeah, I'm the realest thing that these niggas perceiving these. You take away. I separate cause I live like a sake away. I'm studying my actions on a day to day. When I break you, stay away. Really made it out the matrix. Mentally, cannot fake this. Look at fine. It's me, I'm qualified. You have to be pure. You have to be somebody that's looking for the truth. Outside of your traumas and most of us are limited by our own truths, our own traumas. But niggas that get truth until they get traumatized. Niggas that fail to get truth. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So they can't tap into the capacity until they're able to truly heal. Keep the knowledge no matter what you do. Keep it. Yeah. Melanated, I'm protected. But you can tell me you kept it. Shut up, you kept it. I put my whole on anything. My OT hated by many men. You think you're big, you many men. But some of God, we hit away. We took a stand, we took a stand, yo. We took a stand. We took a stand, John. We took a stand. 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 Give me the nuts for H shit. I don't got the basic. I'm too busy doing like that. But the point is, I said it ain't trying to create shit. No, baby, keep it in my phone. Don't leave me alone. No bitch, I'm not dating. Like this other time I'm saying, I'm here for the night. I'm playing. Black man, black man, black man, black man, tap dance, villain, goddamn. In a fight, can still pop, pop, pop. It's legendary. Great that is man. Shot a nigga with head, y'all keep floating with the demon on stretcher. I think I use my physics lesson. I keep it on me for the pressure. I keep it on me for the pressure. Yeah.
Oh man, you look like you're going off, bro. Could you send that to me? Damn. Man, I was just about to say the last part, the last song that wasn't playing like on the side. If you could send it to me though, I'd need to hear that because you were going off. I could just tell based off the energy and the looks that it was definitely hard.
Yeah, I'll send them to you both right now before I forget.
Okay, because I think it was the just the bass that it was like too much for the Zoom.
Oh, okay, no problem. No
Or
problem.
just the frequency was probably too high. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. But so I don't forget though, I just sent them both the songs I did to you. So you have so
Okay,
even if you don't have this part included in whatever is recorded, you have the songs.
okay. I hear him now. I'm just gonna play like the last one.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. God for thy, God for thy most by. My God, see, see me. Take away. Da-da-da. On that red pill, because you know I'm gonna stay awake. Let's go. Yeah, man, I was catching the vibes. That's definitely hitting, man. Oh, that that reminds me too. I was like, we gotta definitely get a track in here together because I've been just today. I wrote two new songs and recorded them both, and I'm like, man, I need some of those auto tune that you're using. Like that shit is fucking flames.
I'm glad you enjoy it, bro. Facts.
Yes, yeah, bro. I mean, the music too, especially you said that was like a couple years ago. I'm like, man, how is this not out yet? You know, what happened?
Yeah, bro. I just got that song, like one of them songs, the song I just sent you, I just got that back today, bro. From
Oh,
getting
okay.
in contact with the group. Yeah. Cause I deleted everything.
Word, yeah, I remember you were on like a hiatus for a little bit there, like off the Instagram and everything.
Yeah, and I deleted a lot of stuff I had attached to the group. So it was like I had to go through them to even get certain songs, bro. This
Oh,
song for Free Soul. Free Soul heard this song.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Man, he would be a great person to collab with too. I'm sure you guys would make some fire together.
Maybe down the line. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was definitely some magical time. I mean, he's definitely on the same wave right now, like blowing up and still racing up the vibes every single track. So I mean, I can tell, you guys would be perfect together. But man, that especially now knowing that you just got these back too, I'm like, once you get these launched out, I mean, I'd love to know like what's the plan? Are you gonna release an album or with it? Are you gonna market it or like what are you gonna be doing with this music? Because this shit is like literally to uplift the world.
Yeah. I don't really put my mind into stuff like that too often. I'm sort of slipping away.
Mm,
I have support. I have people around me and direction for how to get this out to the people that it needs to get out to. So it's in the process. Like everything's in process now.
yeah. I,
Yeah.
I feel that because a lot of times people, if they just try and rush things out to the world and like get everyone it doesn't have the same kind of value either, because like people won't not necessarily appreciate it as much, if it's just like freely given all the time. And also not everybody wants to always be at every single point in time in their life. Like they're not always meant to just be sharing everything, that they create, because there's a time for that introspection and creative process, which I can tell, like, regardless, whatever you've been doing, it's been working. So, I got that for sure. Um, and man, it's an honor, especially what you shared there with the channeling. And I mean, I'm definitely like very keen, especially knowing you've got these interviews coming up, that it's a time where, you're about to start popping back out. And but just with the most highest messages that need to be channeled for the collective. That's the most important thing, it seems like.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, and that's powerful, man. And I could literally see it too, like the way that, you're just doing these movements. It was like what you would almost, like you mentioned that movie Venom, like the same kind of movements that you would see there. Um, it was just so authentic. Like there's no way you can make that up. So it's just very powerful and insightful for me as well, and just like helped me open up a lot as well, just to receive more love,
Mhm.
from the universe, because it's always here, it's always available to us. It's like just waiting for us to accept it in, uh you know
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah, but it's a fact. That's the Probably the craziest thing I learned is that it's always been there. It's just
Hmm.
what perspective we choose to see things from. But that's the beauty of it. It's like that's the beauty of rediscovery. It's not
mm,
the same. We just came and we just remembered everything.
mm, big facts,
It's
man.
not the same.
Yeah, the appreciation is on a whole nother level, like, and the gratitude. And like you remember some of the people I was connecting with, like a couple months back when we shared. And one of the biggest lessons I learned as well through that, like, in the people that I was connecting with, that were like literally creating documentaries, and had already spoken with some of the biggest inspirational leaders that we know: Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Deepak Chopra, all these top spiritual leaders. And they say the number one quality that we can have above everything else is gratitude. And there's nothing higher than that, even above love. And that's where it really almost got me. I was like, wait.
Nothing above love. Nothing above love. Those things come from love.
Mm,
Gratitude comes from love.
mm,
Love is unconditional energy. It is zero.
it's the
We
zero
have a
point.
misconception of what love is. We think that love is what you do for somebody. Oh, I feel loving, so I'm going to do this for this person. I feel loving. This is not love.
Mm,
Love is unconditional energy. We talk about benevolent beings. Benevolent beings are unconditional love because they choose to let you beings do whatever you want and destroy yourselves, and they don't always interact. Yet you give them all this praise. You have an imbalanced view with how you even see the good and the bad. Because
mm.
within the good, there is bad, and within the bad, there is good. So until you romanticize the devil, will you ever be love? That is the truth.
To
Period.
realize that even the devil has nothing but
Romanticize, romanticize,
a romantic
romanticize, fall in love, fall
love.
in love, fall 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 in love with everything
Mm,
that is.
mm.
You are everything that is.
Dark
Stop
and light.
separating yourself.
Mm. Wow. Well, I have to just let that sink in right there, because I remember too, a couple 5+ years ago, and this was the same message. Another friend of mine that does some channeling, and told me, he's like, the anger and all the fear and, the guilt, all those other emotions, you have to be able to love those just as much as all the other higher emotions, and appreciate that, and also be able to express it and channel it. because we all have it inside of us and there's no escaping it.
So how are you going to escape the matrix unless you escape yourself?
Mm,
How do you escape yourself if you don't know thyself?
mm,
You are the darkness. You are the darkness of this world. You are. You are the politician. You are the corrupt. You are. So that's what you see. Oh, man. And your freedom comes through suffering. So interesting to watch. So suffer, you must burn and purify.
mm. Wow. Reflect on that too. And you even think back to the concept of the 369 code with Nikola Tesla and how he always breaks down that energy flow. If you want to know yourself, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. That was always his main quote and his main saying.
Right.
And these numbers, the 3, 6, and 9 that represent the trinity of mind, body, and spirit. 6 is balance and harmony, and 9 is completion. I was like always reflecting on this because we have honestly been given, these codes that we can understand through math as well, to symbolize how that freedom comes through purification.
Divine mathematics. Divine mathematics do not matter unless you are whole within yourself. You come from zero. What is the fraction that you equal? What is the common denominator? Who cares about the numbers that you add on a piece of paper or your ability to interpret 1 equals this, 2 equals this? It doesn't matter unless you embody the number.
Mm.
The only reason that somebody knew what numerology of what one went is because they became one, and two because they became two, and they told you about it.
Mm.
It doesn't matter if you recite or understand or learn or nigga, this is two, nigga, this is three. It doesn't matter. You must become three. You must become four. You must become five. You must become six, seven, eight, nine. Completion. Oh my gosh, redo it all over again from another perspective. Overlay.
Mm.
It's a non-stop journey. This does not end.
Mhm.
It doesn't end.
Man, I mean that's honestly as deep as I think as it can get when it really comes to it. No matter how much the science tries to prove it, through the numbers, through quantum physics, the observer's effect, there's nothing that would ever be able to truly quantify it except the fact that it is pure energy. So when you embody it, then you experience it firsthand.
This you know.
Yeah.
That's why you can speak on it. So
Mhm.
teach people the truth. Teach people the truth. Teach people the truth. Teach people the truth. There is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. Teach, teach,
Mm.
teach.
Mm.
Stop fucking playing around.
Mm. This book I've been reading, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, is like literally one of the most powerful, hands down texts I'd ever read, all about this, and specifically how the age of information, and how it's been so heavily increasing every single year. It's like it used to be 50 years ago, we had the amount of information that doubled from before like World War II. And then now it's been gradually exponential to where it's like 18 months is all it takes for the amount of information to double. And so with that, it's like there's so much information out there now that it can be so much for people to take in that they don't even know where to begin, where to start.
Exactly. It's like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
good, bad. We have this information and we think because we know it, like we take it on as though like, okay, let's do this because we know it, but you don't know it.
Mm,
You don't know anything. You don't know anything until you become and experience it through your being. So the first school is really your body. Teach people the first school is their body. It's
hmm
not about success in this world that we think there is no success in this world. It's polarity. You can't have a success in this world. It doesn't exist. You
mm,
are success. So the true success is freedom of knowing who and truly what you are.
hmm
There is no other success than to ascend this school of understanding and knowledge. So teach people about true success, which is to understand who they are, are, they are. But you can't teach people. You can only point to where to go. They have to open the door. They have to open that door and see what they created. Not everybody wants to see what they created and face themselves, the man in the mirror. But who is behind?
mm,
That's why reptilians still exist because they don't want to go behind the mirror. They like to
mm,
play around. This is a playground. All this information. What are you talking about? Where are we going? We don't want to go nowhere. Go into the all. Why? You can't tell me what to do. You do what you want to do. You're source too.
hmm
You know what I mean? He's benevolent. He's malevolent. Sucker on a fucking lollipop. What? Words neutral. What? Who are you? Energy? Energy? God. God, God, God. You are God. You are God. I am God. But you don't know until you decide to show yourself. So until then, I might eat your brains in another realm
mm.
to show you that you cannot die. Who cares? Who cares? You ever had a nightmare before?
Oh yeah.
It was a dream. You woke up.
Mm.
Oh my God, it's so terrible. Oh my God. Oh, God, eat my brains. Mommy, my brains, daddy. Daddy, they ate my brains. Who cares? What are you talking about? It's all fun. We all have fun.
Mhm.
It's okay. Just choose love. Your vibrational state determines what you experience. We've been trying to say this forever.
Mhm.
And we're not in control of you. We can only interact with you in the realms and the dimensions that you choose to exist in. What do you mean? We can only play our part. You can only play your part. So play your part.
Mhm.
Play your part. Will you decide to part the sea of consciousness, of polarity, so that you can understand between what is good and bad and that all is good? Or will you just continue to play the game? It's okay. It's all love.
Mm.
It's really all love. There is nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be scared of. It's just choice through desire of what a being chooses to do, which is receiving its instructions from source. So who are you really even pointing the finger at?
Mhm.
What's going on but source having a game with itself?
Mm.
But how will you know that? How will you become sensitive enough to that if you are still vibrating in lower frequencies of yourself? It's not possible. So of course there's going to be a contrast of people thinking, "Oh, he's crazy or she's crazy." Of course there's going to have to be a mass kind of awakening
Right.
because people are asleep. I mean, it has to happen at some
Mhm.
point.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Exactly, David. You get it.
Mhm. I mean, if, this pursuit of free energy is going to come in as well, then it's a burning and a purifying of this old way of thinking that, we have to work for us to be able just to earn a wage and like all the ways that we've been tricked, even just through the etymology, the language, it's like earn is just like an urn of ashes and like the weekend, we're putting through a weekend and we wake up, like awake at a funeral
Mm,
into a mourning,
mm,
and like we're mourning our own death. So it's like we're dying every single day.
mm.
But in order to come into that higher wisdom, you have to burn away the ego and the false identity.
Oh, he just said it. Say it again.
In order to truly wake up, you have to burn away the ego and the false identity.
Oh, yes.
Mm. And that's the only thing that will ever set us free. And, 2020 was a major turning point for that because a lot of times it's only until you feel like you have those freedoms stripped away from you, that's when you start to realize that it's already, it's already here. It's your inalienable right. Nobody can take it away from you. But we had this false identity of thinking like, oh, it's everything's just gonna be exactly how it is. We have nothing to worry about. Where our freedoms are always here. There's nothing like trying to take it away from us. But yes, there are forces out there. Obviously, they all come from within. Um, but if you allow that, and that was the first test that we had, to where people had to really fight, stand up, to be like, okay, we're not gonna allow that. And to realize like we're not just meant to just be working all the time as well. Like it was the first time people had to sit back in their homes and like really sit and reflect and be like, all right, so what am I really doing now? Like, is this work actually fulfilling me? Is it actually going to last in the long term for as long as I think it will? You know, it was like the first time where people had to really like just go within and then ask themselves those hard questions, and I feel like this next year too is something very major is going to happen. Would you agree?
This next year is gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I mean, I've seen it. It's also in the book that I mentioned. It said about the Kali Yuga cycle that we're entering into a new cycle this upcoming year, and not that it's going to be like the year that everything changes completely, but it'll be the beginning of that. We're already starting to see a little bit of those effects.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm,
it's already begun.
yeah, this is like what has been prophesized for thousands and thousands of years, but like the age of information that ultimately leads us towards a truly liberated society, like real, you know, potential of free energy to come forth onto the planet, able to experience their highest selves
Right.
firsthand.
Exactly. Exactly, David. Because
Major re-
because free energy is only a reflection of our energy.
hmm
Technology is only a reflection of the frequency and vibration that we're vibrating at. So we feel like we're enslaved. So that's not free energy speaking, is it? Is that free energy speaking? Oh my God, I'm enslaved by MK Ultra. No,
mm
it's not. Transcendent. That is how you will bring your planet into free energy.
mm
It starts mentally. It's not about what you create. It's not about this device. It's about what you choose as a being. You are the device.
mm
You are the first primal, primordial, ancient device more powerful than any other device that you could possibly create externally of yourself. You are the spaceship. You have abilities to travel interdimensionally, different galaxies. The only limit is your vibration. It doesn't matter if you come out of body. If you travel out of body, you will still be limited through your subconscious mind until you purify your heart, which is to become pure, which is to see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. That is how you experience whatever you are speaking on is the higher frequency of Earth, because not everybody will experience this high frequency of Earth you speak on. You could be next to somebody in a room.
Hmm.
Um, hmm, hey, how's that mama doing? Huh? Ha ha ha! And that very same being, as the Earth shifts, could experience an entirely different reality than you because of your state of being. That is all that matters. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your grandmother. Nothing else matters. What are we talking about? This is the time to become. Put your mask on. Airplane mode. It's going down. You already descended. You are in hell, as they say. But do you want to wait until the spirit really merges with the physical? Do you want to wait for that? Oh my God. New moons are coming. Oh my God. They're only coming to show you you. None of that shit matters. It's you. You're the answer, your solution, you're the problem. Deal with it.
Mm.
Deal with it. Fix yourself. Everything else will be added.
That's facts, man. It all starts from within. And it reminds me of just the importance of the right left brain connection. You know, how we have one side that's logic, one side that's emotion. And as men, we're just taught to suppress all of our emotions. That's what honestly keeps us out of the state of coherence of the waves inside of our body. And like, to realize like our heart is, you know, the highest, it has the most amount of electricity of any other organ in the body, like almost 1,000 times more powerful than the brain. And the frequencies of the body interact with all these different rhythms, like the circadian rhythms in nature. And like just by being around too much light or too much artificial buildings, like that in of itself and environments kind of can get you out of sync.
You can transcend those.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily like it's not the end all be all, but it all of it has an impact. And so it's just about coming into full coherence back with the heart,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
you know, and the frequencies of the body, like that we can actually tune and tap into just through the power of our breath, you know, because that's the one thing that is like a never ending beat. That's the only thing that we can always rely on that to sink us back into the present, you know.
Well, you are the present. That's the thing. We don't need a tool to sink us into the present because we are the present. We put on out of desire, we put on consciousness, ways of thinking that take us outside of the present to rediscover ourselves. So until we are naturally exhausted of what we went out into out of desire, and our only desire is to be one, will we ever take off those meanings to just be in the present?
Mm.
You can put on a consciousness that has you breathing like breath work without you having to think about it.
That's actually like that's
Or
something I
the
want.
breath work, you understand?
Mhm.
You'll start to vibrate so high, you start breathing. It's a part of the process. Somebody went through that and said, "Hey, let's do this. You want to become enlightened? Do what I did. I started breathing." They just started waking up into themselves. Of course, as you start to take on higher keys of consciousness and dissolve what you're not, you're going to start breathing more because you're more aware. It's the mind is linked to the body. To
Mm.
step away and to do breath work is to state that I am currently vibrating in a state where I need to do breath work, to visit myself, dissolve it as God, and you will be in yourself. You will breathe as you should breathe.
Mm.
It's time to become the highest if you choose.
So there's nothing more important. I've always lived that way, and it's just, I mentioned this before. It's like to be able to ride with those waves, in that unbounded bliss, to know how to swim in those waters rather than to drown in them. That's the most important thing. And, you know,
You
it's like
get it.
every single day.
You get it.
Yeah. It's like every single day you got to practice your stroke, you know? If you don't, then you forget. Eventually you forget how to swim.
It's funny you said that because I wrote a bar today for a song I was working on. I said, no time to ride the wave, it's time to be the wave.
Mm,
Now, we're not riding waves, we're not riding trends. We are the wave. We don't
mm,
have time to try to look up. No, it's time to expand from thinking that we're trying to swim in these waves until we are the entire wave. Bring it all
mm,
into singularity. Bring
mm,
it all here. It's all happening here within you, within David's consciousness on a day-to-day, everything, the all and nothing is happening
mm,
right there. As soon as we turn this off, you are still the all and nothing in one.
mm.
And we still are not separate, even if we turn off this Zoom.
Of course.
So you are the wave. You don't have to try because who you are is effortless. There
Mm,
is no trying in being. As long as we're trying, we're not being.
exactly. Yeah, even the word try itself notates that there's a possibility of failure.
No,
And
it's
that,
not that it's failure, but it does notate something. And that's what it is. Who is speaking? What is the consciousness speaking and what does it notate? That's all we need to become enlightened within ourselves. You don't need anything else.
mm,
Is the one speaking out of love or out of fear? Is the one speaking the being of what it's speaking of or the trying to be what it's speaking of?
no, that's it.
You'll naturally wake up. You already have it. It's you.
Mm. Yeah, it reminded me of these three words in the English language that we often get caught up. There was the one is hope, because hope is like that is us thinking that there's something that we have um to wish for, rather than realizing like our power is already here, and that it's like our ability to manifest.
Right.
And another is like try. That's one I've always looked at, like to eliminate those words as best as you can, um, because that's like a weakening of your power, that you're kind of giving away.
Right. Right.
And then another one is like, does this make sense? When you ask somebody that question, like, does this make sense? Because when you're so secure in your knowing, you are the wave, like you said. It's like
Right.
there's
When
no
you're so secure, like who you don't have to ask anybody.
exactly.
Yeah. Look at you. You're super intelligent, David, and you're ahead of your time. And that's because you're a leader, bro. That's
Mm,
why we met, because we're leaders of this time. It doesn't make us better or worse than anybody else, but it means we act as bridges. Think about all the times you've had to experience what it means to die. That's the only reason you truly understand what I'm saying, because you truly, in your own way, paid the price, bro.
mm,
In your own way, you paid the price to understand the things that you understand. So, just understand, bro, that that's you. Nobody can take certain things from you. And you become certain things and continue to embrace that because it's going to allow your cup to continue to overflow so that you can continue to help other people. The only reason I'm at where I'm at is because I continue to sacrifice what I'm not so that whatever else I was could overflow beyond my logical mind of what I thought it should be. You're already in alignment in your higher self, just like my higher self. We all the same self. It's really all already in alignment. It's us. It's really about us as a tuning device of tuning into alignment what we are. But it seems like for yourself, bro, I mean, I talk to a lot of people, you understand a lot. You hear, you have ears to hear, which means your heart is not hardened,
Yeah,
right? Which means you're chosen, which means you chose. That's it. It's not about these beings are chosen. No, nigga, you chose as free energy. You chose to be chosen. Like, what do we? You chose. If somebody else chose something else, it doesn't make them less than us. It just means they didn't choose maybe that.
that's it, man. I mean, we're in a system where people are just kind of brought up in a way where they're only like they never even knew that this was a choice for them, so that's one thing.
Right. So can you even blame them? Yeah.
Of course, but like I was just lucky enough that I was presented with such a deep depression that I was like, all right, I know that there's something else out there. I'm just gonna search and search and search until I find out what it is that's causing this, what it is that I'm really here to do, and what I need to focus on so I can help other people that are in that same situation. Um, and this was like 10 plus years ago. And so like just being able to even ask those questions, was what led me down this path. So it's not like the information's not out there, but just people have never even thought to ask, they don't know
That
how to,
question, that
yeah,
quest,
yes, the quest ion,
quest.
to the ions are, inside of our body. It's our finest state of matter. So it's like a quest to discover our finest state of matter. That's the
Exactly.
biggest question in quantum physics right now is what is dark matter? And what is like this 99.9% of space that we don't have the ability to measure just yet? Just like the 99.99% of our DNA that we still don't have the ability to understand just yet or measure.
Mm.
But that's where like the whole rest of the universe that's out there is just sitting there waiting for us, and our eyes can only see less than 0.001% of all of it.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's all right now. All we can say is that we know nothing, basically.
Basically, but that's good. We know nothing is actually good. And I want to say this too, bro. Just as a side note, you are the first person to have a recording or to ever experience God's channel through that much.
Mm,
Period.
that's an honor, bro. I'm super grateful for that. And it was just my first one, obviously, too. So, like, I would love to be able to go much deeper at a different point as well. Though, just kind of being able to even scratch the surface, I can see there's like a real, like he's just no bullshit. Like he gets straight to the point, and so it's like better come correct and come ready because sitting around with gosh there, you know.
And Gosh doesn't claim to be like a benevolent being. That's the thing. I think we're in a time, bro, where we're bringing from polarity, bro, to singularity. Because one of my fears was, bro, this isn't the most high benevolent being that I'm channeling. I'm channeling some type of lower entities. But it's like, bro, we're all coming back to one. Even if something that you could say is malevolent, it still deserves love and it still went out to come back to source.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? So it's bringing a lot of clarity, even on the reptilian side, where a lot of people had, there's been a lot of fear promoted around reptilian beings and the activity that's happening within this narrative.
hmm.
So you're getting a first-hand like experience. I'm gonna show you this picture of what Gosh looks like.
Okay.
Because this is the image a lot of people have of like fearful, being afraid of reptilians.
You got it on there. Oh man, that is some. Yeah, that's the image, of course, right, that most people think of.
you know?
Yeah.
So I've just it's just it's like it's an honor, but it's an honor for them too, bro, because we don't remember who we are. We are like we're an extension of all of that, bro. Like you, bro, if you haven't already, I know you've done DMT, but you
Yeah.
could link to your galactic self. Whatever stages you do, you have different selves. your galactic self, you got your higher self, you got your oversoul, whatever. Like, however you connect to it, bro. Like, we so far expensive beyond Earth. It's, bro,
Straight up, bro.
we so out of here, bro. Like this, this shit about to go to nothing, bro, because it's nothing going on. So the only stuff that really goes on is gonna be for really most people to continue to transcend. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, whatever it happens, it's like it don't even matter. It's like our state of being is truly the only thing that matters, bro. Truly. And I've heard that from Bashar, and I know that like, and I've heard that from the Octorian Council. Like, they're not telling us this for no reason.
Mm,
We're ancestors too. We're all connected genetically. There
hmm
is no separation. So they just really looking out because the grays really are another extension of us and what happens when we decide to just ignore all the signs.
hmm
Like, that's not a fake, you know what I mean? Like, this is stuff is really real, bro. Like, this next year is gonna be intense
Yeah.
for depending on what level we at. For us, it'll probably be more exciting, more fruitful, more like about time. You know what I mean? But for other people, it may be like, hey, I don't want this. I got my $1 trillion business that I need to keep up. Like, I don't want to
Very
you
good.
know what I mean? It's gonna be different.
That's a fact. Yeah. I mean, it's like the even the quantum field theory itself is already starting to like completely change the paradigm of science as we know it.
Exactly.
To
Yeah.
show that rather than like just all these random arbitrary particles, that there is actually a web of interacting fields
Right.
that
This divine order.
and the separation of like we need to like extract from the earth, and just that whole paradigm of living in separateness is no longer going to cut it, because as we start to realize this, more people will understand like what true reality is, and
Exactly. Exactly.
that there's also so many other branching universes out there. Like people think that this is the only universe that exists,
Yeah.
and there's already so much understanding of how there's multiple dimensions of reality as well that we're only starting to learn how to navigate, and we're like just we most people actually are just stuck here in this 3D. Um, but man, like this, once we start to see that like reality is more like a hologram, that there's a space that we can actually interact with that can change based on how we observe it, that's when everything changes. And
Exactly.
man, it's going to be huge. I absolutely can see that too. And I would say just for now, like, yeah, like you said, just really just begin diving into the self if you haven't already. For anybody else that's still watching here at this point, I mean, I'm sure at this point you've already been like kind of forced into it, because it's just like already so present here within this call.
If you
Uh,
still watching, right? Yeah.
yeah, then there's no way you haven't faced already a lot of aspects within the self. But yeah, just do that, and then this guy, I mean, check him out. Like, I'm sure you're probably gonna launch your YouTube and stuff again right now, but at this moment, we just kind of have to like be on the lookout for that. I'm guessing, right?
Well, if you ever do release this and Bing gets this part of the video and they're curious about where to find like me on the social media, who is the one speaking? Is on YouTube. Who is the one speaking? And Instagram. Who is the one speaking? And TikTok, you can search Gosh Forever. So that's GASH, the number four, and then ever. Gosh Forever. And then that's really it. I mean, I go by Musa Eternal, but I don't know how much music you're gonna find under the name Musa Eternal. But I'll
Yeah.
say it because If things have changed and you don't see it under that name, then you'll definitely find it under one of those names that I just mentioned, no matter what time span you probably tap into this on this physical dimension.
Word. Yeah, I can see there's a couple of videos here, but very not very much with your old name there. Uh, that's perfect though, man, because everything that needs to be there will be there, and you have this big interview coming up too, so that'll be a perfect time to get all the right alignments in place, uh, for what you want to display. But man, yeah, any other last words here or anything else you want to reference people towards as well? They want to learn more.
A Leo Bishop is innocent in nature. Um, in essence, bro, he's innocent. It's like we can hold things against him as a being, but it only reflects our perspective. It's not about what somebody else does, it's about how we respond and choose to view it. So that's not me saying that in the sense of like, oh my God, he's brainwashed. It's me saying that in the sense of, do you want to be free or not?
Mm,
You have to choose to look at it from a perspective of love, regardless of what somebody else does. So that's really all I have to say in that sense. The answer truly is love, which is an unconditional state of being, which is to dissolve something back to nothing. Can you see the root of something and love somebody past that to the point where you don't even see what they could have did from a polarity sense? Oh, they hurt me, so they're a bad person. What about, oh, it hurt, but it was just an opportunity and they're good in essence? Can you get to that kind of perspective or you be continue to be limited? That's it. You can use your body as a device to enlighten yourself. You don't need anybody else or any other practices.
mm,
And that's really all.
that's facts, man. Appreciate you saying that, and yeah, we'll definitely stay tapped in, uh, for sure. And that music was so fire, man. I'm gonna definitely start bumping that right after this too. You know what I'm saying? And gotta get the collabs going. So yeah, man. Well, we'll definitely keep these collabs going, and appreciate you again so much for your time, and it's happening very soon here.
Yep. And anytime you want to have me, bro, like even if you do a live or an event, gosh is open, like I'm open to, you know what I
Mm,
mean, to just bringing this information continually forth. Like we're just gonna continue to bring the vibe until heaven's here, bro, until I transition. Like that's just what it is.
That's it, man. That's the dedication that you need, that we all need if we want to like be able to truly evolve. Like we're here till, till it's battle's over. That's not like it ever ends necessarily, but till like you said, heaven on earth is here. So I'm with
Mm.
you on that 100%, bro. Let's get it.
Already.
Yep. All right, bro. Man, this was such an honor. I can already feel the shifts coming in. So on this new moon, gonna let the vibes continue to sink in.
Facts.
Yep. All right. You have a wonderful night here. Stay blessed.
You too, bro. I love you. I love you.
You too.
All right.